Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining us today for our regular Thursday lecture and the last academic lecture this term. So, I hope that your day is going great. We are thrilled to have you here with us to gain insight into studying in the US as a Ukrainian student. Before we get into the nitty-gritty, let me just briefly introduce myself. As some of you may already know, my name is Victoria, and I'm of course the outreach coordinator for the Education USA network here in Ukraine. As part of the global network of the US Department of State, we are committed to promoting diversity in the US higher education system and building bridges of knowledge across borders. We're the official source on US higher education and offer accurate, comprehensive, and unbiased information about opportunities to study at accredited colleges and universities in the United States. Today, we're going to dive deeper into studying in the US with the Fulbright graduate student program. Have you ever dreamt of becoming a student in the US? Do you want to make this dream a reality? Do you want to know how to make the most out of your US university experience? Which resources for students are available on campus, as well as some of the do's and don'ts in the US? Well, we're going to talk about all of these things and more today. It's my pleasure to welcome our fantastic guest speaker, Романа Осадчука, a Ukrainian graduate Fulbright student with a master's degree in public administration from Syracuse University. He will give you the inside scoop on the application process to US universities, essay writing, and of course, what it's really like to study at an American university as a Ukrainian student. Before we get started, I would just like to encourage you once again to stay proactive and ask questions. We would love to hear from you, so please do not hesitate to reach out. I, of course, will be monitoring all of your questions and comments and make sure we get to them at the end of the presentation. So, without further ado, Roman, I'll turn it over to you. Please take it away.
Thank you, Victoria. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today or watching this in the recording, regardless. Happy to be here and present my experience of studying at the Syracuse University, and to be more specific, at the Maxwell School, which is one of the departments of the Syracuse University. So I prepared a slideshow, so let's start from it. We'll go through the slides, but then I would be more than happy to answer all the questions. I focused mostly for some like practical tips and tricks, but if you're mostly interested into some things of like how life is there, like some more practical things, like what is the services or available kind of tools in libraries or some like amenities, I would be more than happy to talk about this as well. So let me just start. As Victoria said, that I indeed went to the Syracuse University. It's, if you don't know, it's the university in the middle of the upstate New York, state New York. Why upstate? Because it's up to the north of the New York City. There is like a funny telling that like everything that's slightly up north from the New York City is basically upstate, and it's basically it's New York State by itself, and New York City is slightly different. Actually, it's like 4 to 5 hours by bus, so it's not New York that you could imagine from the movies or like as you could see like from video clips, etc. It's not the same. And about the stipend, indeed, I was a participant of the Fulbright graduate program. It's a fantastic program that gives you a lot of opportunities to study as the full-scale, full-blown graduate student, meaning that you are going alongside other graduate students from all over the world, like Americans, of course, because you're studying in the US, but also like people from all around the world. There might be people from different countries in your group, so that's basically you could get like an international experience out there. For instance, in my group, we had like about 90 students. Not a lot of them, like about 10, were only foreign students, but most of them were from the US. But the situation might be different depending on your specific school or department that you would be studying. And yeah, the program itself is really fantastic because you start from the beginning, and then till the graduation, you're experiencing all the stuff. You're always there, but you do not need to worry about the financial circumstances because the stipend, you will receive a monthly allowance stipend, right? And your actual fee would be covered. So basically, what you need to do is to focus on study. So let's just dive into that. This is a few pictures of the university. So actually, the building that you see behind the Lincoln, quick clarification: Lincoln did not go to the Maxwell School, but it's a monument dedicated to him. And behind him, you could see the main building where I spent most of my 12 months in this program. It's a full-blown master's program, but it just like accelerated. That's why it was 12 months. So the program itself is more professional program, so-called. It's like Master in Public Administration. Ukrainian analog would be Державне управління, I would say. But if in Ukraine, it's like general, I would say, master's degree. In the US, a lot of the time it's perceived as something that you do mid-career, meaning like 4 to 5 years into experience and work experience. So what I expected from this program, it was like economics, statistics, some policy analysis, and some I don't know, policy cycle, etc., which was like kind of fair expectation on my end. But actually, what I got, it's what I was expecting, because I got a class on the econ, on the public budgeting, where we built the budget for one public institution. In my case, it was a museum. Also, we had like 2 stats courses, which actually were extremely great because they helped to understand how the world works, but in a way that how to do different research, how to analyze data, etc. But on top of that, there were like a lot of emphasis on the leadership. There were quite a few courses on how to behave in the workplace, how to lead the world, how to promote values. Because there is like Athenian oath being engraved on the like wall of the Maxwell School. It's one of the oldest and actually top-ranked program, MPA program in the United States. This year, it's like 100 year anniversary from its foundation. And another point that I wanted to raise is that studying in the US, it's not like walking the park or in the street. It's like really hard, like honestly hard, because you need to do a lot. You need to read a lot. You need to do a lot of assignments. Depending on how many classes you take every other semester, it might be quite substantial, I would say, and it might be extremely hard to go through that. What I mean by this, every class usually will give you like their own assignments, and a lot of the time you would need to actually manage your time properly. What I mean by this, you would have a like syllabus at the beginning. You would have like certain deadlines that you need to adhere to, but the main issue here is that most of it's up to you whether you're making this in time or not. And if you're not making in time, you receive penalties, right? So up to the point that some of your works might not be even graded if you submitted them after the time. And sometimes the tasks are numerous, so you need to simultaneously thinking about multiple classes and do them. So it is pretty hard, but also pretty rewarding because you're learning a lot of stuff in a short period of time. And this is really great and fantastic experience to learn a lot of new skills and some facts enrich your knowledge. But at the same time, it will require a lot of resources from yourself. So it's not easy. So you need to always bear this in mind, that it would require a lot of time from you and a lot of efforts. Also, I had a lot of interesting professors. Some of them like had real world experience. What I mean by that, one of the person who was teaching a class, actually a few classes, but they were electives, right? So I only took one. He was the administrator at NASA and Navy, so he managed quite big organizations and a lot of different things, and like he encountered a lot of different challenges and shared his experience with us, which was really rewarding experience for people who signed up for his courses. But also there were like some other people who were under Secretary of State, or some other folks that had immense experience, I don't know, working in the government, or just having like a stellar academic career. So it was really great. Another thing which I got is like visualization and like data analysis. So it seems that like public administration is like something of like alongside political science, it's something not that extremely practical or so. But in reality, I was able to learn 2 coding languages, Python and R, on the basis that I was able to analyze data. It's not that like extreme deep knowledge of them, but at the same time, I was able to create this like infographic. And so I mastered a few of the software packages, simply being on this that many people in Ukraine would probably perceive as like humanitarian education, but it was my choice. And here's like another lesson from it, is that you are the master of your program. Of course, there's like core courses that you cannot change and you need to go to them, but in a lot of times there will be a bunch of electives and you could actually tweak your program to the way that you want it. Because you are, I don't know, client might be the word of that, but I would say that you're receiving the services, and that's why you are like educational services, and that's why you can and have an influence over what are you being taught. This is great thing to have this like control over it, but also it might help you to create the program that you want and that would be the most beneficial for your career in the future and for your life. Another really important thing is the mentorship. Imagine like I just described the people who were there with immense experience in academia, in government, in private or nonprofits, in private business, nonprofits, and they are open to mentor you. So you could always like write a few words and like, hey, can I go to the like class hours and just like office hours and talk to you about this thing, like what I should do with my life, with my career, etc. They're pretty open, fair, and they really want to help, and they could give a fantastic advice. Of course, you cannot replicate their path directly, right? But listening to their experience, what they could suggest you take in like what classes, what path, whether you should do some, I don't know, additional degrees or studies, or just what type of career to choose. There's also like career services, this like separate. Oh, sorry. Slight issues with the electricity, but you definitely still hear me, even though you could see me slightly worse. And also due to the blackouts. So this is an immensely great experience. So the mentorship is a fantastic thing. I discussed some of the things with the professors, and it was like a really great experience that I deeply enjoyed. And finally, I got a practical project. What I mean by this, some of my peers, we had a class called like, not a colloquia, but something along the line that we needed to do practical project for non-governmental organization, think tank, or even ministry. Some people done like for the Ministry of Justice, if I remember correctly, mayor office, etc. Me and my colleagues, we've done a project for the Rand Corporation. It's one of the oldest U.S. think tanks, which was really great experience to work in a team on a specific project, learn like literature, going deep into the topic, and then creating a paper for them and then presenting them in DC, so Washington DC. Great experience. Oh, sorry, that was quite a bit fast. How to prep to get to the universities, right? So how to prepare yourself for the application process. Well, first of all, you need to think about like why do you need the education in the United States. By answering to this question in your head and to yourself honestly, you would be able to actually persuade the Fulbright committee and the university that you are the right candidate and the right person for this program, for this department. And this is extremely important because by having clarity in this question, you would be quite good at understanding what to write in your essays and like how to position yourself into this program. It might change. It should not be like set in stone that like whatever you write in these essays or like what you decided in this particular point of time should be like eternal, your idea, and you could never like turn around. You definitely can and change, and life circumstances are different. Like we need to adapt all of the time. But in this particular moment, when you decide whether to apply or not, like, and when you decide to apply, you need to answer this question. And also, important point is that the Fulbright program requires you to apply to the Fulbright program first. So the deadline is in mid-May. So it's like May 15th or 16th every year. So you need to apply to this program first. And before even this, like while doing this application, you already need to know answer to this question. The next thing is that you need to focus on what's of interest to you and what you want to learn. Again, it would be helpful for your essays, but at the same time, it will help you to have a specific scope and request for the university when you got there. Remember, I told that you could actually tweak your program. So that's what you need to keep in mind, that even if you go, like, let's say, to some classic program, let's say political science, right? But you're interested in like one certain subset, like let's say comparative politics, right? Or something, or American politics. You could always go and just like adjust this interest within the program. So, but you need to understand what, at least on the some general level, you want from this program. Finally, find people that will give you recommenders letters. That might be people from different sides of your life. It might be from your volunteering, people from your work if you're working, or from academia if you're studying. Generally speaking, if you're applying for a study, there should be at least one academic. It's preferred, like academic, maybe even two, and one practical if possible. In my case, there were two, I guess, practical and one academic at the moment when I applied, because I applied slightly after the graduating from Ukrainian universities. If you haven't gotten to the program on the first trial, don't be upset. It's totally okay, because you could do this again next year. That's the first thing. Second of all, it will give you a lesson on what's been done not correct, and maybe you could change your vision and understanding what you want from this study, but at the same time being better in your application next time. Again, extremely important. There is like small defeats are actually helping you to build your best towards the huge victory. Applying to the program, like Fulbright in this case, it's only the first step. So here I would be mentioning jury a few times, graduate record examination. But I will tell you this, even if you're like, now it's slightly late to apply for Fulbright, but I assume that you could watch this like for the next cycle or something else, or if you just applied to Fulbright and waiting for the results, I would highly encourage you to prepare for jury already right now. Why? Because it's extremely hard. It's harder than you think, and you cannot prepare for this test in 10 days, in 2 weeks. It's like close to impossible, simply because you need to learn a lot of new words that you never heard of. Usually they're being used in really specific literature or in The Economist. Honestly, if you're reading The Economist and everything's absolutely perfect and all of the words are just working great for you, then probably it's possible that preparation will take less time. But just bear in mind that it's not only like the knowledge of the English, it's also logic, but also a lot of math in English language. Just FYI. So to apply to the like graduate program, you need to prep 2 essays, personal statement essay and study objectives. Personal statement is something that, who are you as a person, like why you want to study. And the final one is the study objectives, that you need to come up with an idea what you want to study. We already slightly discussed about this on the previous slide. So think about the structure and story that you want to tell, because people who will take a decision whether to get you to the program will be building the whole idea about you as a person based on these papers. So they will read these essays and think of you as a person. So try to display yourself as to the fullest as possible, simply because, again, it will be the only representation. You might be a fantastic person, you have like a lot of hobbies, but if you're not writing about this, people will not know in the committee that you are this fantastic person. Finally, ask the fluent person in English or native speaker, preferably, to read through your essays, simply because in American universities, there would be native speakers reading it, and it's better that the flow of the text will be natural, and they will not get some like points of your application because of that. Finally, you need to fill in quite substantial questionnaire on the Fulbright page. Sometimes, even at the universities, you need to apply with additional essays or to go through, some interview. So be prepared for that. Prepare for the tests really quickly here. TOEFL, if you want to go to the competitive program, 100 plus is a really great result that you could get. It's like really excellent. It might be lower for different programs, but it's just a safe bet. 100 out of 120. You could go to the like different courses or like learn on your own. If you have like pretty substantial English knowledge, you should go ahead and prepare. Just do tests, and it would be like enough. You could prepare like within a month or even less. The biggest issue is jury. Honestly, like just read about the test. Try to understand the logic. Try to understand how it works. Honestly, it's like 4-hour tests that will test your, willingness to life and many other things. It's a joke, but basically it's a really long, exhaustive test of your verbal, logical capabilities, of your essay writing, but not in the regular sense that you would think of. And also, it's half of it is about math in the English language in a timed setting, so it might be quite frustrating. So if you can, please prepare in advance. It's really, really tough and tougher than you think. The next thing is to pass this test, you need to learn a lot of new words. And what I mean by this is that, like, honestly, you need to learn them, what they mean, because a lot of the like verbal part of the jury requires you to fill in the right word, and sometimes like out of 5 words you need to pick 1 or 2, and if you know the definition of this, like 1 or 2 out of 5, sometimes it's like considered as a win. I would remind you that this test is being passed by native speakers, and they also like not always passing it greatly. That just to bear this in mind. And my final slide here is that what to take a look at the universities, right? All of the ratings are like really relative. So don't be over focused on the universities that you already know from the movies, from the popular culture or whatnot. Your experience in the university is being actually formed by yourself. So just know that like sometimes rating of the program might be even like more telling than the specific rating of the university in general, right? So take a look at the program, at the specific lectures and people at this program that might like teach you, who would be teaching you and working with you. Take a look at the, as I said, professors, their research interests, and if they align with yours, that's fantastic. Take a look at the lists of the courses and syllabuses, and if you see like that it clicks with you, then it's fantastic and it's a match. Take a look at where the graduates are working and what spheres, organizations, and again, if it aligns with your like life plans, great. That's what you should know. And also take a look at all of the materials on the websites, or just talk to the graduate students, like graduates of this program, through, I don't know, LinkedIn, social media, whatever. And yeah, and try to get as much as you can before you're applying, because again, it's a huge investment of your time, resources, psychological as well. So that's why you need to be prepared in advance and have great understanding why you're doing this in order to be successful and to go through this, let's say, challenge with dignity and with a great success. On that, I will stop the presentation. We'll be more than happy to answer all of the questions that you might have about any parts of the experience.
Thank you so much, Roman, for such an informative presentation. I highly enjoyed it and gained so much insights into the Fulbright graduate student program. So once again, I would like to encourage our lovely viewers at home to please reach out to us if you have any questions. We would love to hear from you and, of course, assist you on a journey to US study. While we wait for questions, I actually have one of my own, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So it would be about studying in the United States. In particular, how did you plan your study process in order to keep up with the other graduate students?
Well, I have pretty great experience in Ukraine, right? So I had a graduate program in Kyiv-Mohyla Academy alongside Kryvyi Rih National University. So I've done quite a bit of programs in Ukraine before I applied, and they prepped me with like English sources. So I tried to make my English language as good as possible. It wasn't enough. Honestly, you could go to the test, you could pass TOEFL, you could think that you know English pretty great, like you could go and like survive and everything would be fine. Kind of, it was fine, but at the beginning it was really hard. Like honestly, being on the atmosphere of like native speakers 24/7, without knowledge of like people around, do not knowing other, like building this relationship from the scratch, and also studying all of the materials were like in English. Everything was in English, right? So like there is no way to escape it. So you need to be prepared. You need to be prepared for this mentally, but it isn't as bad. But you need to understand that there will be a cultural shock. You need to adapt to what's being there, right? Basically, like a quick note: if you do not have driver's license and you are thinking about applying to the United States, do it now. Like learn how to drive. Honestly, there are some cities in the United States that are unlivable if you cannot drive. Like my personal experience, so I lived with two roommates and we called Uber to the supermarket because supermarket actually happened to be located outside of the city that we lived in. So we need to like pull in Uber there and then get back. So just like bear this in mind. There would be like a lot of other things that I would not spoil for you. You need to discover it on your own. Some things that might really surprise you, like the public transportation or the lack of thereof. Again, but it's up to you to discover it. There are a lot of smaller things, and also I cannot tell for the whole United States because my experience was based on one city, right? Then I lived for a few days in different cities, so I kind of have a general understanding, but I cannot tell you about some specific other city simply because United States are so different. Like sometimes when you go within one state, it's different. Like I don't know, not the planets, but like different countries. But like differences between two states might be like as between two planets, honestly, in the solar system. So like it's a lot of things that you would need to adjust, but you'll get there. It's not that it's like impossible. And also, yeah, the great system of friends and support, like how to plan the study. There was like scientific advisor who actually helps you in the graduate program, so you could always go there and check your plans, what you want to learn, what's the way of I don't know, going through this program. A lot of people want to just help you. There is a lot of printed materials that they will give you, like what is the core courses, what you could pick from, etc. So there will be people who will consult you. There is no problem. You just should not hesitate to go and talk to those people. Again, it's in a nutshell. There's like a lot of different small details that we could talk about, I don't know, days about. So
Thank you so much for such an in-depth and detailed reply. So we have another question from Solomia. Solomia, it's lovely to have you with us. So Solomia is wondering, which English level did you have when you were accepted?
I mean, depends. Like, depends on how you're. Okay, according to the test, I would say it was B2, so not C1 at the moment, or maybe it's like on the verge B2 C1. So on TOEFL I got 104, I guess, and it was. I mean, at the moment it was considered by myself like good. I wouldn't say that it was perfect, but it was just all right. I did not have a lot of issues with listening to the lectures and their content. I would say the bigger problem will be on some informal speaking club, let's say, like with your peers and classmates, when you need to discuss, I don't know, anything from the trip to the supermarket to, I don't know, some regular stuff. Like, I don't know, basic things like washing machines, like how to, I don't know, how to buy, like, I don't know, the transport pass, how to pay for your transport, and many other things, right? So like how to rent your bike, or a lot of stuff that not that intuitive, right? So if you already have an experience with your field, like let's say you're in engineering and you already have like lectures in English, then it would be somewhat same. No great like news. Maybe some new topics would be more complicated than others. That's all right. But I would say that these things like talks with your peers would be mostly present, because you would be trying to find words that would work greater in this kind of situation, and it will not always be that right. So you would be just a bit slower than your colleagues, and sometimes they might be quite fast for you. But again, you would adjust. It's really great game of catch, and by the end of year one, I would say you would definitely catch your colleagues and become fluent by their own measurements. So yeah.
Thank you for such an encouraging answer. And we've got another question from a student who's wondering, if you're still an undergraduate student, what are some of the things you can do to prepare yourself for the Fulbright graduate student program to pass the eligibility criteria?
Oh God. Well, I don't remember all the eligibility criteria, but you definitely need to be grad, right? You need to have you need to have a degree, and basically that's it. I guess that's the main requirement. You need to have a degree. I would honestly suggest how to prepare to get maybe some extracurricular activity if you're like finishing your bachelor program. Just try to, I don't know, go for internship at some like organization that you're interested in, just to enrich your experience and understand, like, and to demonstrate that you are taking some steps in this particular field, and that's why you like it will make your application more I would solid, right? It will help you to be better, and like to provide better proof that you are actually working on this specific thing, that you are the person who actually already works and wants that, and there's like additional proofs that, look, take me, I'm already working into this kind of direction, but I need help. And maybe finally try to try to look at different options and build an understanding, like while you're at the bachelor program, what are you lacking, what kind of like interests you in this particular field that you're in, if you want to just continue, right? If you want to, like, let's say you're studying math and you want to continue with math, so what particular problem in math you are most interested in? If you want to change, think about why. So just like while being in this program, so like try to find the passion during this program. It will help you to explain. Again, it's not an ideal answer maybe, because there is no I don't know, silver bullet solve all of the things, and there is no unique recipe for everybody, but it's just like that's some things that might help you to make your application stronger.
Thank you so much for your answer. And I just want to add to that that if you're looking to apply to graduate programs in the United States, you might be interested in our Competitive College Club program, which is a completely free of charge cohort program. You can actually scan the QR code above. And of course, prepare for a year with one-on-one sessions with our lovely advisors who will give you an inside look into the admissions process, help you prep every step of the way from pitching together a competitive list of schools, also colleges and universities you might be interested in, as well as seeking funding, putting together good transcripts, and of course, preparing an effective letter of motivation. So we've got another question from Salomia, who's wondering, did you have some activities? I'm supposing when applying for the Fulbright program.
Yeah, no, that's a fair question. Yes, I've got almost 3 years of work experience when I applied for the program, and 4 when I was actually departing to the program. So I think that it kind of counts as like some activities, but at the same time, I was keen on some topics and published some articles to the like dedicated to the topic, even though I worked not necessarily on the stuff that I was mostly, I don't know, aligned with what I wanted to study, but just some other things showed. So yeah, definitely I had some in a nutshell.
Thank you so much for your answer. And I guess a final question on my part would be a rather general one. So what advice would you maybe give to aspiring students who are looking to better prepared for studies and life in the United States?
Oh, I mean, understand that it's not, honestly, it's not easy. Like when you get to like absolutely different part of the world, right? You would need to adapt quickly. I understand that like we in Ukraine kind of have a, let's say, gist to adapt, right? But it would be something different. The experience would be not, I mean, it would be something different. So be open-minded. Try to get as much as you can, not only from the professors and like lectures and everything. Try to learn from your peers, simply because people from the United States and actually from other countries that might be actually your classmates, they come from many paths of life, and they have such a vast experience usually, and like points of view on the world that are so different from your own, that it's really great to, I don't know, just discuss some things that I don't know, you would not, I don't know, maybe discuss usually with your friends, because it's kind of understand. So like some general context and like concepts, I don't know, try to talk with your classmates about what democracy is, and you would get like a lot of interesting questions, questions like and answers to this question. But at the same time, what I mean by this is try to I know find friends there, because again, it's really interesting experience. But at the same time, yeah, try as many things as possible, because when you're learning at the university, it's time to experiment. It's time to do the things that you would not do when you are working, right? So when you would be working, there would be less time to watch, I don't know, some Coursera course, or like, I don't know, getting some changes in your maybe career or something. But when you're at the university, I don't know, pick a class that you were always curious about but never thought that it's practical or something. Maybe it is practical, but you just don't know. So experiment, be open-minded, and remember that it is not the easiest experience of life, but it's extremely rewarding, and you would be thinking and thanking yourself if you take this decision for the rest of your life.
Thank you so much, Roman, for some fantastic pieces of advice. And thank you to our lovely students for being so active today. Final words of encouragement. Keep working on your application essays. Keep working on yourself. Keep believing in yourself. And if you persevere, if you work hard, you will make this dream of studying in the US a reality. I wish you the best of luck. Stay safe and stay with Education USA. Bye.